This video contains some harsh language and a bit of gore. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everybody, my name is Mr. K. Sardonicus. Welcome to my Vault of Horror. Thank you to everybody who is returning and to those who are just now getting into this channel. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy your stay. Tonight, we're going to continue our 2025 movie list, but this time, we're going to dive into the fucking trash. Yes, but we're doing 7 of the worst horror movies that I've seen this year. So without further ado, let's get into the intro. Now, before we begin this list, I need to explain some things. First off, there's only 7 of these because I don't go out of my way to see bad horror movies. If I know people that have seen bad horror movies this year that I haven't seen, that I chose not to see. So you won't be seeing Strangers Chapter 2 on here. You won't find anything Blumhouse on here. There's quite a few other ones as well that, you won't find any of the public domain, like Mickey Mouse or Popeye movies on here. Stuff like that. Like, I don't go out of my way to see bad movies. If I end up seeing a bad movie, it has to be unintentional. And that's what these 7 movies are. And the first 3 were just disappointing. And I wanted more out of it. I was expecting more out of it. But the final 4 are this list goes from like up to downhill really fucking quick. So, without further ado, let's get at number 7.
May the resolve resist the evil that lays before me.
Identify its true nature.
Do you know who I am?
At number 7, this is the first disappointment of this year, and it came from Shudder, unfortunately. This is a movie that I thought would be like a really good religious horror movie that did something different. Unfortunately, it really didn't. This is Shadow of God. Shadow of God is just wasted potential in a great premise of a religious horror movie. I barely remember anything about this movie except for a few bits and pieces that were okay, but it didn't satisfy. Like, this movie is just literally unsatisfying, and I expected more out of it, especially coming from Shudder, and man, it did not hit right. It didn't. And I think that if it would have went further into what it was trying to do, and maybe they had a bigger budget, and this is one of those moments where this movie fails mainly because the movie is so ambitious, despite its low budget, that budget affects it. It affects the film altogether because you're trying to do so many ambitious things and the budget doesn't work for it. They tried to go too far well, just too ambitious while not having the budget to make it look convincing or satisfying. But yeah, it's unfortunate. But yeah, number 7, Shadow of God.
Don't be scared. It's worse if you're afraid.
At number 6, this was another disappointment for me, mainly because the trailer looked interesting, but it just dragged. And the only reason why I watched this is because I needed something extra to review during the October season. And there really wasn't anything new dropping in October at all this year. That was really big. So, It Feeds is literally like, it's another situation, just like Shadow of God, where its ambition is its fault. And I will admit that It Feeds has better moments than Shadow of God, but that's why it disappoints me more. Because it really, really, really just didn't land in the end. And the execution was very, very, confusing and not well put together. But I wish that I could have liked this one, because I almost kind of did. But then after, looking back at it, I'm like, I barely remember anything that happened in this movie because it was so forgettable. That's the problem with these first 3 movies, is that they're forgettable. And, man, I wish that I could just say I love this movie, but I just don't. It left a sour taste in my mouth in the end because of all of the misguided potential. But yeah, I definitely think that It Feeds deserves its number 6 spot.
That's him. That's who was walking outside our house.
Please let me go! Here comes Venom.
At number 5, this honestly was literally just a complete fucking disaster for me personally, because I was expecting more out of this and not just a fucking Terrifier ripoff. This was Diced Reloaded. Now, the original Diced, before it became a big budget movie, was actually kind of good, because it wasn't just a Terrifier ripoff. But this updated, bigger budget one is a straight up Terrifier ripoff. It literally rips off bits and pieces and characters from the Terrifier movies. I'm like, can we just get some originality here? I mean, come on. You're talking about a character that actually looks fucking cool and unique. And that's the other thing. The kills aren't really all that memorable and don't really look all that good. They don't look as good or aren't even as effective as the Terrifier movies. And they try to shove in this backstory because they know that they more than likely know that they're not going to get a sequel. So they try and, because that's the thing about Art the Clown. We don't know what he is and his motives. But they're trying to bring motives into this Benny, the Scarecrow character, and it just doesn't work. And so, it just was a complete fucking mess. And it was just insulting. Because I was hoping that, we get something actually, different and not just, a blatant ripoff of bits and pieces of the movies that we already have. You know? So, yeah. Diced Reloaded definitely deserves the number 5 spot.
Are you sure you haven't been drinking with us?
Okay.
Now, we're into the really bad stuff. Like, these next 4 movies are absolute garbage. And the 4th one is a movie that I was actually kind of looking forward to because the actor John Malkovich is in it, and I love his acting, and I'd love to see him in more horror. But Opus was not it. This was bad. This was literally like a poorly done celebrity worship horror comedy that failed at the satire, the humor, the scares, everything. Like, even John Malkovich couldn't save this movie. And usually he could save a bad movie. But this was not it. And it was just... This was the first movie this year that made me think, this is work. This job that I have now reviewing movies, this is fucking work. And this was one of the first movies that I saw in theaters this year. And I'm like, I literally had to find a ride to get to where I need to go. I don't drive. So I have to find people to give me rides to and from movie theaters. And I feel bad for my ride for having to take me to go see Opus. And it's just going to get worse from here, folks. So, yeah, Opus, number 4 spot.
Reveal yourself!
Emma?
Emma?
You know you're most biased.
And at number 3, this is the worst movie that I saw in theaters this year. The final 2, I didn't have to see in theaters at all. But number 3 is the worst religious horror film of this year. And believe me, there have been a lot of bad religious horror films this year. This is The Ritual. The Ritual? This shouldn't even be a movie that should have The Ritual name, because there's better movies called The Ritual out there. The fact that Al Pacino, of all actors, looked at the script of this movie, of The Ritual, and said, fuck yeah, I'm in. I totally want to fucking do this, man. Shit, this will be like me playing Father Karras in The Exorcist. No, man. I'm sorry. I love Al Pacino. I admire his work. But this is like literally one of the worst roles he could have ever fucking possibly took. This movie is so bad, it's not even funny. Like, this is on the level of The Exorcist Believer bad. Only The Exorcist Believer's actually slightly better. Me saying that should tell you fucking everything. The Ritual was such a bad exorcism movie. It wasn't scary. I was laughing the entire time. Mind you, this movie dropped in theaters on my birthday. So, this was, I was thinking, oh boy, a fucking actual good exorcism movie for my birthday. No. this was bad. This was really fucking bad. And it's literally the worst movie theater experience that I had this year. But there's still 2 more movies that were worse than The Ritual. And thankfully, they were only available on streaming. So, let's get at number 2. And then we'll get to the really big stinker.
Trust me. Don't look for it. Just get out of this town. It's real.
At number 2, this is the worst Shudder exclusive that I've seen this year. And this director dropped this movie and another, actual anticipated sequel of a franchise that he's already been making for the last decade or so, or longer. This is 825 Forest Road. Yeah, I put this on my number 2 worst list. I haven't seen the Hell House movies that this director had done. But from what I understand, his other movie that dropped this year, Hell House Lineage, was just as bad, if not worse, than this one. And I didn't see that one, and I haven't seen any of the Hell House movies. And I don't even know if I want to see them now. But I'll probably trudge on through and see if I like them in the near future. I like to give at least a director a few more chances. You know? But, no. 825 Forest Road was a snooze. I'm not even kidding you. There was nothing. The atmosphere was not there. And the acting was so poor. The scares were non-existent. And they tried doing this, story that just felt half-assed. There are better movies out there that do, the haunted town thing. Or the haunted, suburban type of thing. There's better modern movies that have that same premise out there. This one is just the worst out of the whole bunch. This was so uneventful and so unfulfilling, and it just pissed me off. Because this is my introduction to this director. It makes me think that it's probably not going to get any fucking better. But we shall see, because we have a whole heap of Hell House movies to fucking watch this upcoming year. But, this year, as recording. But, yeah, it's bad. It's just bad. And it has to be at my number 2 spot. Now, before we get to number 1, please like, comment, subscribe, and hype up my video. Share it with your friends. Let's get my channel out there a bit more this year. We have a whole bunch of stuff going on. And man, you're in for some treats this year. I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. And this month alone, I plan on doing 3 videos every month. So that's a video every other Saturday, every month. So, be ready for that. And now, without further ado, let's get at the number 1 worst.
Oh, Ed, just in time for the big finish.
At number 1, I was actually looking forward to this movie so much because I love the original, the first one. And this, this is the only legacy sequel that I really watched this year other than Final Destination Bloodlines. And this was the worst horror movie I've seen this year. This is Mutilator 2. This is supposed to be a meta legacy sequel to the original 80s underrated 80s slasher, The Mutilator. And I love the original The Mutilator. But what Mutilator 2 was not good. It was awful. This was the worst thing I've seen. And it was stuck in festival limbo for a good couple of years. And then this last summer, it shadow dropped on Amazon to rent for like $3. So I was like, I'm sold. I'll be able to praise this movie and say how good it is and say, hey, I've reviewed this and it's good. This was so painful that I questioned humanity itself. Why was this made? How was this made? I don't get it. I mean, I kind of get it because, I was psyched for it. You got my money. You got my $3 that I could have used on doing an extra load of laundry or something instead of watching it. That would have been more useful. I'm sorry. This was bad. And this was the most disappointing film too, not just the worst. Because I was actually looking forward to this and hoping it would drop soon. Because I'm not near any festivals that would be playing this. This was my only opportunity to see something that could have been cinematic fucking history. But instead, it ended up being cinematic dog shit. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's number one, and I feel bad at putting it number one because I really was wanting to love this one. And I had to sit through this and endure it. And yeah, it's so bad. And yeah, it's my number one. And that is it, everybody. Now, have you seen any of these movies? I'm sure some of you have seen a few of them. But I really wanted to do the ones that I literally seen. Because I don't like trying to do fake reviews or put something in a list even though I haven't watched it. I'm not one of those content creators that does that shit. It's very dishonest, and I like to be authentic and real with you guys. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I didn't go out of my way to see bad movies. I don't go out of my way to see bad movies. Usually when I see a bad movie, it's unintentional, and it shocks me how bad it was because I didn't expect it to be bad. But tell me what your worst horror movies are down below. Share, like, subscribe. I will see you guys next time, and we're going to be doing underrated horror movies of 2025 within the next week or so. So stay tuned for that, and until next time, take care.